everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a special video for you. I'm at the New York Philharmonic's archives. I also have a very special guest today. His name is Gabe Smith, who is an archivist from the New York Philharmonic. Welcome, Gabe!
Thank you, John. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Thank you for coming to visit us.
Thank you. This week we are doing the Dvorak Symphony 9, The New World, and I just heard we still have preserved the very first manuscript when Dvorak wrote this piece and we performed it in
1893.
But is that true?
That's true. This is the world premiere. Dvorak was living in New York City. He had come here to lead up a conservatory called the National Conservatory. He was teaching, but he was also composing, because that's what he did, right? And this is called the New World Symphony because he was living here in the New World.
So is there a chance I can see this manuscript?
Yes,
Okay.
and we should say it's the manuscript of the parts,
not
the manuscript of the symphony. That's in Prague.
That's in Prague?
That's in
so
Prague.
we have to fly to Prague and see it?
Yeah, we have to fly to Prague.
Okay.
But the manuscript parts are just as interesting.
Okay.
Because they're written in hand by the librarians and they have all the markings of the musicians.
Really?
Yeah.
Do I need to wear gloves for this?
You don't need to wear gloves.
Really? I can just touch?
You can just touch as long as your hands are clean. Did you wash your hands?
Not really. Okay, I'll go wash my hands.
I think you should go wash your hands.
Okay, let's go.
Here is the part set that we were just talking about. Symphony for the New World. MS means manuscript. We have a couple other things to get too. You have to have a lot of upper body strength.
There's still more?
There's still more. So here's 4 pictures of the conductor. It's all filed.
Again?
One more box. Actually, we should start with the program just to situate ourselves, yeah? So this is the program. See? Philharmonic Society of New York, Anton Seidl, conductor. Here's the repertoire. Midsummer Night's Dream, Violin Concerto, Brahms. Then special arrangement with the composer. So it's not a commission, but it's really because Anton Seidl and Dvorak were good friends. First performance of Dr. Dvorak's new symphony in E minor, number 5.
Why would it say manuscript?
Manuscript.
Are they reading from manuscript?
Because they're reading from manuscript. So is the conductor at this point. And the composer's in the audience, Dvorak. This is the program notes.
Oh, goodness.
And then look, here's the roster at that time. Here are the musicians. There was a lot of discussion in the press as to if this music was American, and if it was American, how is it American? And what kind of melodies from different groups are in there. Let's take a look at what Seidl looked like, okay? He was with the Philharmonic for a few years, 80s and 90s. He was really, really popular. He had a huge following in New York. He conducted the Met too. Here he is in his house. Oh, you want to see his dogs? Summer Home in the Catskills. He was really beloved, and so were his interpretations. Okay, now let's get out the parts, Ijung.
As I was unboxing the manuscript, my heart was really pounding. I'm screaming inside.
So remember what we said, this is a manuscript part, meaning the librarians copied this from Dvorak's manuscript before anything went to the publisher. So what you're looking at here is just what was taken from the manuscript. And then that's what the Philharmonic used in those first performances, and then afterwards as well, which we're going to talk about. And then eventually the publisher came out with the first edition, but that was after. So this is the musicians that were in exactly your spot.
take this part tonight?
No. But this is all handwritten. Yeah.
As I looked more closely at the manuscript, I was amazed by how well it had been preserved, even after 100 years. At the same time, I noticed some blue markings on the paper.
A lot of bowings of this age of parts are done in blue. So either that's the librarian, but this to me looks like is a musician marking it.
I also noticed a lot of interesting changes that left their mark on the music. That made me wonder whether Dvorak was present at the rehearsals and concerts.
Exactly, or like any contemporary composer, always is there for the rehearsals, because if there's a question, right, you need to be able to ask them.
Yeah, it's a sand bowing. Interesting. He didn't want that. I mean, he marked it like that before.
Yeah.
Oh.
So to
Realize what he
to
means,
realize,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It would sound. Yeah. Okay. It's very Beethovenian too.
Yeah.
How it's always emphasizing the same chord.
While I was carefully examining the part, Gabe pointed out something really interesting.
Well, go back here. So this is interesting. There's a tempo that says larghetto.
Yeah.
And even in some parts it says andante, but now it's largo. So that was also happening on stage. The reason we know this is there's a diary. So we've read the diary of Dvorak's assistant, and the diarist was a viola. So they slowed down the tempo. It took Dvorak a couple of days to agree, but he finally agreed that yes, it should be slower, the melody.
If you look closely, you'll see that Dvorak scratched in tempo changes.
In Czech, and then from the New World in English.
Right. Oh, is this the year that we performed or something?
I think these might be the symphonies.
Oh,
and then he writes a line, and then in New York, I think this says November 1893.
Then we flipped to the last page.
Fine, something in Czech.
The translation is
24th November 1893. And remember the date of the performance, 15, 16 December. So they only had 3 weeks to make all of these parts. Isn't that amazing?
Well, thank you so much for joining on my channel.
You're welcome anytime.
We'll visit another time for a different purpose.
Yeah. Well, when we're dealing with the original documents, have to be serious.